Hi, I'm Mike Mulligan again, and I'm gonna try to. I got a little confused in all the lies here with the LERs and stuff, so I'm gonna try it again. So I'm Mike Mulligan. I live 2 miles from Vermont Yankee. I worked there for 13 years. It was way before Entergy owned the Vermont Yankee. Got fired for raising safety issues. I worked there as a licensed operator. I was in the Navy before that on a fast attack submarine, the USS Lipscomb. It was an experimental submarine. I was on there for 4 years. It made a man out of me. We're going to go. They got a new LER. I kind of had an experimental YouTube here, and I wasn't going to use it. I kind of got confused. You know what I mean? On LERs and stuff, but I'm going to put that up anyway. So, but I'm trying to explain. I'm just trying to stick to the LER and stuff. So they had a new LER that talked about. Well, they talked about the SRV problem up to probably on the south side of Blizzard Nemo and stuff. And this is why they treated me different, the NRC the other day on my 2.206 and stuff. So I mean, this is why I'm sick. I'm sick about this. Really. I mean, I see the power that people have. I'm a powerless individual. I got a little bit of power with transparency and stuff like that, but I can't. I have a hard time with words. I always did, and I stutter one too many times and stuff. But I can see how the world is. I'm pretty good at seeing how the world is. Translating it into words is another thing. And I can perceive this. There's so many people with so much power that are above me that have. They have draconian levels of power that you just can't penetrate and stuff like that. And I see the chances of me having any success is so slim because I have such little power, and there's so many people that have so much power and status and agendas and stuff like that. I'm sick. I'm sick with this. But anyways, the new LER came in, and like I said, and let's go over. Well, I'll show you the blatant lie here. This is the first. Wait, I'll go through a quickie timeline. April, May, they got new SRVs installed at Vermont Yankee plants. December 26, 2011. That's when their first leak, and they went into a shutdown. That's the first LER. That's the first LER that was drawn. January 20th, 2013. That's the second LER. That was involved. And then remember on February 3rd, 2013, notice the pace picks up here, folks. That's the third leak. Then on February 8th, 2013, that's when the Nemo tripped. And on February 26th, they had a new leak, which the NRC tried to keep secret. They stopped talking, notifying the public what was going on, stuff like that. So they were restricted to 94% power. And then on March 30th, 2013, that's when they were restricted to 80% power. And the take home on this guy is you can't trust anything in the LERs. Nothing. Nothing in the LERs. And so this is... Listen, just watch this. Just as an example. This is the first LER. This is the LER on December 26, 2011. This is the first. This is when they admitted the first leak, but they were lying through their teeth, right? And this is what they said, right? Go down there. Oh, it's such a blatant lie. Let's see. Here we go. They were previous occurrences. There are no previous first stage occurrences with these safety reliefs since all 4 safety reliefs were newly installed in April, May 2011 during refueling outage 18. There were no previous leakages, right? Lying through their goddamn teeth. However, the industry has experienced. It's an engineering language, engineering words and sentences. Everything has meaning. They're highly specific and they're attuned to the facts, right? That's what these guys are. They go to college and they get masters and they get PhDs and they're hyper evidence and facts based and they use words with a specific meaning and all that sort of stuff. That's what they go to school for. So that's what these universities teach these engineers to do, and these engineers are writing this. However, the industry has experienced leakage with other target rock model safety relief valves at other plants, right? And then they talk about one at Peach Bottom, and, right? At with other target rock model safety relief valves, right? And so we'll shoot into the okay. This is the one that was just recently released, right? This is the March 21st. Just came out today, 2013. And let's go down here. And they emitted in this LER on May 18th, 2011, right? That LER was came out on February something. I mean, that's when they wrote the LER up and said they had no leaks in previous LERs. And this is the brand new leak, and on May 18th, 2011, right? First disclosed on April 18th, 2000, today. First disclosed today. First leak on, the first small leak on SRV, SRVRV 203-C. And then C25, 2000, I'm so upset. November 25th, 2011. It's almost like my brain short circuits when I get upset. November 25th, 2011, disclosed on April 18th, 2013, right? Second leak on SRV RV 203C, right? And then you remember that one? You remember that one? No previous first stage leakage occurrence with these first stage relief valves since all 4 safety relief valves were newly installed in April, May. Absolute lie. See, well, this is the power of Mike Mulligan when you really get down to it. Make no mistake about it. They know that I'm playing around here and talking to people and trying to create transparency and stuff like that, and they got caught in a lie, and they're trying to correct the lie, right? They're trying to, oh, we self-admitted it, you know, instead of having an NRC objective report on what was said on both these LERs and stuff like that, and a comparison and why they did it, and get it on a record of you know, how come these 2 LERs were so blatantly different, right? And charge Entergy with falsification. I mean, that would be the fair way to do it for the if they were objective to write an inspection report on it and compare why they lied the first time and why they were truthful now and stuff. You know, and you can't trust the NRC and stuff. So, however, the industry, and then you start looking, right, and then let's see, where is that guy? Where is the new one? And we'll go back to the new one here. I gotta keep my LER straight. Let's make sure I'm on the right one. No, well, that's the wrong one. So this guy said, and look at this guy. Date of event was 1st 20th. That was the second leak, and it took them 3 months. It took them over 3 months to release this. Well, it took them 3 months to make a report, right? And then it took them another month. Let's just say it took them another month until this is dated. This is when they sent it in. Dated March 21st. March 21st, 2013. That's when they sent it in. And so, like I said, and this is when they first, see, subsequent to installation in RF, or subsequent, that's after the installation. I had to look that up. Pilgrim experienced minor second stage pilot valve leakage from SRV RV 203-2033C on May 18th, 2011, and on November 25th, 2011. What they have to do to stop the leak is cycle the valve, open the valve and shut it, and you know, that's when you open the valve and shut it and stuff like that, that's, you wear it out, and you make the situation worse, and stuff. It might temporarily shut it off and stuff like that. And so after that, then later on, right, May 2001 was the second minor leak, and then they went to December 26th, and that's when the first. That's when December 25th is when the first was about the first LER, and them saying they never had a leak, right? They never had a leak, right? Engineers in this, how specific they are with words, and they said they never had a leak on that December 26th, 2011 shutdown and stuff. And we'll go over it, but we'll just try, and then. And so then here we are, you know, a few months later, and stuff. The industry has, right, that first LER back in the time frame after December 21st, they said that there was only two-stage SRVs that, you know, had operating issues, and the implied only. That's an engineer talk, is specific language, specific word, only. And so 6 months later, the industry has experienced numerous instances where SRV leakage has occurred at other plants with other Target Rock Model 3-stage safety relief valves. I mean, it's just astonishing. You know, this OE337, you know, nobody's got, I don't have access to that crap, to that special, that's what I'm talking about. That's a special report that is not allowed. The plant hatch installed the same model 3-stage SRVs in Unit 2 in April 2011. Hatch experienced numerous pilot. Oh, this gets me so upset. The Hatch plant installed the same model relief 3-stage SRVs in Unit 2 in April 2011. It's around the same time as Vermont Yankee, right? And the same time frame as Pilgrim. What plan am I in? On? And within the first year, they had numerous leaks, just like Vermont, just like Pilgrim did. And that first LER says, you know, there was no, we had no issues. See how they just talk on their interest, you know, protective language, don't admit to all the different issues with the SRVs, and then they don't talk about, then they deny that the industry is having issues with numerous instances where with three-stage reliefs leaking early within the first year, just like, and so then they, you know, and so, you know, so obviously, Energy, Target Rock has an issue with their safety. Something's wrong with their safety relief valves and stuff like that. With three-stage, they've had three-stage safety relief valve for decades and stuff. And I don't know why all these generic issues with safety relief valves. And so, you know, the take-home is on this new LER is this first time they admitted that there's numerous issues with three-stage Target Rock safety relief valves. Many plants have operated, stuck them in their plants, and within the first year had many issues of leakage, just like the Pilgrim plant and stuff. And this is the first public notification that they have grave issues with three-stage Target Rock relief valves. See, you know, and you know, they're going to do some, you know, they're going to do some, they're not, they shouldn't be allowed, I mean, let me tell you something, with these valves, they shouldn't be allowed to operate. If they can't make sure that, you know, just the idea, you know, that they could put a new valve in, right, and it could leak within 2 weeks of starting up again. And God knows how many times it could leak again, leading to a plant starting up and shutting down a zillion times because they don't know what's wrong with the three-stage Target Rock safety relief valves. So you see where they're heading? They're going to replace them with the same pilot valve that they replaced them with in the past, that has failed repeatedly a zillion times at other plants and stuff like that. And they get away with that on such an important piece of equipment and stuff. It's just amazing. And so let's go back to the first LER. The first LER. Huh? I'm so upset. Oh, Lordy DB. So that's LER 2011 007 -00. Safety relief valves declared inoperable to leakage. And so, and then the new safety, you know, that's titled Safety Relief Valve Declared Inoperable Due to Leakage. And let's just go over the new safety relief valve, what they call their new LER. SRV 3B safety relief valve declared inoperable to leakage and set point drift. Set point drift. Okay, so we'll go back to this is the first LER, right? And we'll zip through it. You know, this event discovered on the 26th. They quickly shut down. They reported it within 2 months on February 23rd, right? And the only thing they admitted was RV 203-3D was repaired with a new pilot valve, and the plant was returned to full power operations, right? In this LER, they didn't admit that within the 2 weeks of starting up with the new valves, within 2 weeks or less, they had a leak, and then a few months after that, they had another leak, and then they shut down. And they only said they replaced one valve, the 3D valve, and they replaced two valves. They had issues with two valves. On May 8, remember that? On May 18, 2011, that's when they had the first small leak, whatever the first small leak is. Just like who was that other plant there that was leaking? Peach Bottom? Was it Peach Bottom that had that trouble? And stuff. Then 6 months later, on November 27th, they had another leak, and they never disclosed that in that first LER. They never disclosed it. They never disclosed that they actually replaced. They only said one SRV was replaced, a pilot valve. They didn't say, oh, and we suspected another valve leaking and replaced that valve also. And seeing that would give you the clue that that would give you the clue that it's not a temporary, it's not a isolated failure. Maybe they installed it wrong or something like that. That gives you clue. Somebody like me, that gives you clue. There's a systemic and problems with these valves, and it heads you to it's going to be repetitive in nature and stuff like that, and it wasn't. And so they switched. They structured this LER to give you only information that like a guided missile, points you to the direction of it's only one component that failed. When they knew there was two other minor leaks, and other plants in the United States had similar issues with three-stage, with leaks, recurring leaks with three-stage target rock pilot operated relief valves. So that's this focuses you to that problem. The new LER opens you up, and because of me, opens you up to the idea. Oh well, they lied. They had early leaks with this guy and stuff, and we don't know yet. We don't know yet if all the leaks and stuff like that, especially in the time frame right after the Nemo trip, with the business with 80%, 80% restricted power, 94% restricted power on 94% power on February 26th, and March 30th they were restricted to 94% power because of leak. That was the other way, flipped around. Excuse me. So, you start looking at this. There was all sorts of leakage problems during this operational period. All sorts. It was leaking like a sieve, and stuff. And it wasn't reported in that was known in this first LER. This was falsified, and they falsify both the NRC kind of just turns their head and say, "Don't you just submit that on your own," and we don't want to be involved with overseeing that submittance because we know it's a lie and stuff, and so they don't want to see it. And plausible deniability, we didn't see it, and we're so busy and all that sort of stuff, and it's just like I say, it is so destructive to the employees in general when they play these games, because some people get promoted for lies, other people get punished for telling the truth, and it's so destructive, and it sends such a intense poisonous atmosphere in a plant that is wholly dependent on people being honest and truthful, and can talk without any restrictions whatsoever. If they're technical people, really anybody in the plant, but the safety is wholly dependent upon honest and open communication. And when you get this kind of crap going on, where people are lying, and higher officials, and it's in the documents and sworn documents and stuff like that, and the NRC doesn't say nothing. Holy shit! I can't do nothing. If I was honest, I wouldn't stand a chance. So just to say, the SRVs were purchased new, installed in May 2011. Then they quickly had 2 leaks. Then in a year after this installation, then they had their first leak. Then they had their first leak that caused a shutdown. At this time, the most probable cause are problems during the initial manufacturing and assembly of the pilot at Target Rock prior to installation. Weil Laboratory, Target Rock, and Entergy. Big dogs. Remember I talked about big dogs. These guys are big dogs. PhDs, Weil Laboratories, Target Rock. How could they... It will identify any errors. Okay, so, that goes... So, out of the first LER, they only admit to 1 leak, and 1 leak, they only 1 leak, and they only replace 1 pilot valve, right? In this LER, the first LER, we know from the most newest LER of this time frame, before this LER 211-007 was written, before it, they had in the time frame from when they installed it to this LER, they had 2 undisclosed leaks, small leaks, and they were flipping the SRVs open and shut to keep them to stop the leaks, which is it's like filling up a tire and not fixing the hole. That's what it's kind of like. So. And I still can't get over how long. There was no previous first stage leak occurrence with these safety valves since all 4 safety relief valves were newly installed in April-May 2011. And it's just unbelievable, the lying, the plausible deniability, because this creates plausible deniability. They knew when they wrote this, they were untouchable. The NRC and Entergy knew they were untouchable. They could, that's what's so scary about this. They could lie without any, and tell half-truths without anything controlling them. They just, without any fear of getting caught. And I think, even if they did get caught, they have no fear that anybody would pay a punishment for creating this environment both within the NRC and within Entergy that are terrorizing the good employees. Because these kind of things. Okay, so that's the first. We'll go look at the update now. The update. Where is the update? The update, Mike. I thought you said you were ready for CNN. The update. Okay, this is the update. I click my computer too much when I get nervous. So this is the update. So this is dated December 21st, 2012. December 21st, right? This is dated December 21st, and within a month later, they were going to have another leak. They've already had 2 leaks, right? They already had 2 leaks. And a third one was probably leaking and not declared. So this is the update to the first LER, and it's a month before the next leak. And I'll just go on where it's different. Now they basically say SRV RV-203 3D. This is the only guy that's leaked. You know, back in, when was this guy? When was this dated? When was this dated? This was dated December 21st, just before Christmas. Hey, happy Christmas present. So, you know, again, there's no mention of there was prior leaks, which was critical to an engineer to figure out the reliability of this valve and to predict its reliability in the future, right? You know, absolutely no fear admitting fear of withholding information. So they thought it was the first LER. They thought it was something wrong with the manufacturing or assembly of the pilot valve, right? And so now they got even bigger dogs, right? Going over on March 21st, 2012, the pilot assembly and second stage were disassembled. Measurements and tests were performed at various stages of the disassembly. Photographs were taken of the components as necessary. To determine the root cause, a joint team of Weil Laboratories, Target Rock, Energy, and the Southern Nuclear Operating Company engineering staff worked together to disassemble and inspect the valve and the second stage of the valve. This is 2 months before the next leak, right? 3 leaks. There was 3 leaks that this valve, this LER is talking about. That 2 of them they're not talking about. 2 of them they don't document. The company and engineers worked together to disassemble, and inspect the pilot and second stage of the valve. The inspection and disassembly of the pilot valve determined that there is no conclusive root cause for the leakage of the pilot valve. So we've talked about, you know, all the problems that are happening at other plants, right? I mean, you would think that'd be important, that I mean, somebody would get in their eyes, you know, looking at you know, that's the problem with these off system, you know, not reportable system. You know, most of the stuff goes in an internal report, corrective actions and all sorts of reports derived from this go into a private system that the NRC and a guy like me can't see, and stuff like that. And it's unseen by the scrutiny of the government, or the fear of being punished for not submitting correct and accurate documents and stuff like that. And so, you know, everybody has all different standards, and if there's a crook corporation that owns nuclear plants that probably is not documenting like they should, and then you might have a good guy on the other side, and he's documenting like, so the good guys are, you know, carrying a load, and the bad guys are, you know, getting away with crap, just like at the plants with employees. So the following observations were made during the inspection and disassembly operation. There was no evidence of a design defect that could be the root cause for the onset of the leakage. The basic designs of this 3-stage valve is mature and it has been in operation since 1970. Adherence to design, right? Engineering language, highly honed in an academic environment, 4 years or 6 years, maybe 8 years, and stuff. Highly honed ability to use words and the knowledge of definitions and how to use words and stuff like that. And they're funneling it to it's a mature operation. Don't worry about it. You know, it's a mature design. The 3-stage valve is a mature design. And then the next LER on another leak is going to get you to the point of, it'll admit that there's widespread problems in the industry with these 3-stage target rock relief valves, they're happening all over the place. They're occurring within weeks of installing the new valves and starting up again, and they're occurring repetitively, and it's not seen in the NRC document system, right? These faults and stuff aren't seen in any of the NRC document in the reports, inspection reports, or anything like that, and stuff. And there's incomplete NRC. The resident inspectors ain't going to touch this with a 2-foot pole and stuff like that. And so, you know, it's just amazing how these are funneled to be falsified. This is LER is falsified. It's inaccurate, and there's an intent to funnel the story into there's not a problem. Don't worry about it. There's no problem with these as this engineer who wrote this said, who knows language and grammar a lot better than me. The basic design of this 3-stage valve is mature and has been in operation since 1970. An abject lie. That is a lie. That is a lie and incomplete. And for the education he has, and for the education his boss has, and the plant manager, and all of these NRC executives and senior staff people and stuff like that. This is just lying and incompetence. And I don't think it's incompetence. Says, well, you know, you're a dork. And no, these guys up on the other side of that, they're not dorks or stuff. They're very smart guys, and you know, you can use education to further the interest of the United States or the world, or you can use your educations to undermine the United States or the world. You understand what I'm saying? Education is a power leverager, and it depends what motives you have. So, you know, there was no evidence of material defect that would be a root cause for the onset of leakage. You think that's true? A month away from the next shutdown, and a few and then after the next shutdown, there's going to be a set of leakages that we have no idea, you know, which valves leaked and stuff like that, and essence of the NRC hiding a reduction in power, not talking about what was causing that reduction in power, and not notifying the public that that new valves were repetitively having issues and stuff like that, and stuff. It's just amazing. And you notice this LER, this new LER, and stuff. It was intended to not come out until the outage. You know, the plant was shut down, and there was no operability issues, no threat of shutting the plant down and stuff like that. This whole thing, when it was submitted and probably accepted by the NRC, and being only 2 days into the shutdown, this whole LER, the time that it was released was structured to be in the outage. That's what I say. The whole thing is fraudulent and designed for a agenda other than public notification and notification of your brother and sister plants. This is Jesus, it's awful. And so here you are, and right, the very next LER on the next, this is the first leak. Well, they had 2 little leaks that they didn't report, and this is the first leak that they notified the public, right? It's on December, it's on the early part of, well, 12 December, what the report date? You know, it's February something. That's when they first released it. They know the game of when they submitted LER, submitted LER to the NRC in a time frame before it's released. it's they know that time frame is going to be, so they strategically release these guys, right? Everybody knows that. So I mean, just it's amazing. Extent of conditions, extent of contributing cause. There is no contributing cause identified as a result of this. No contributing cause identified as this. Unbelievable with the troubles that lie ahead of Pilgrim with this. That should have been known. Any idiot would have known that they were going to go through causing quite a bit of operational threats with energy in a grid crisis, right? A regional power crisis and spiking electricity costs, and they knew all through this cycle they were gonna challenge plant operability. And like I said, the question is, after the next leak, then they started hiding whether the reliefs were leaking or not. And so the question, the extent of condition. Engineers, right? Highly educated, tuned to be able to speak language clearly and to communicate clearly. 4 years in college, maybe 6 years in college. Probably some of the best colleges in the United States. These aren't half-ass colleges. They only get hired from the best colleges. The the identified condition is a leaking SRV pilot. That's inaccurate because there was a secondary valve. We'll go over that. Based on a review of our plant, plant data, the only pilot to exhibit signs of leakage is RV203-3D. Absolute lie. Lying through their teeth, and they had to admit it. The only reason why they're admitting it because they want to say they're in a scandal now, and the only way to minimize the scandal is to admit it. The leaking pilot has been replaced. No, that's not true. 2 leaking pilots have been replaced. The leaking, it's how this is funneled for an objective and an agenda and stuff. The agenda is it's only one valve, it's only one pilot valve, and we don't know. It's not generic, and it won't be repetitive, and I mean the whole thing is frames it as a one-off. And everybody knew this was going to be a repetitive problem throughout the rest of the cycle. No additional pilots have this condition at this time. No additional pilots have this condition. Well, that might be true, right? They leaked like hell, but they were only a minor leak, whatever that means, right? But they had to replace the pilot of 2 valves this outage, and they only admitted replacing the pilot of 1. Because they don't want to give people that idea that they're worried about these pilot valves, and we don't want no idiot writing 2.206 and raising hell and all that sort of stuff. So we'll that's what I said. I have no capability to interact with a bad plant because they all lie. None of these their paperwork isn't straight and accurate and complete, and you're dependent upon the agency to disclose what's really going on in that plant, and the agency itself is blinded and stuff. And so, I have no ability to know what the big picture is of what's going on in that plant. I only get bits and pieces, which information is thrown out to give a dishonest characterization of the problem, and they're only bits and pieces of information that they wanna have you run to the conclusion it's not a problem when all the facts that they have at hand indicate it's going to be a repetitive problem. It's going to make the plant unstable. It's going to threaten our electric system and stuff like that, and it's going to make the plant unreliable in an accident and stuff. So We didn't know. They went in them two loops, and we really didn't know the condition of the valves during one of the worst threats to a nuclear power plant as far as being up on the diesel generators. The following corrective actions were completed. The pilot valve was removed. The pilot from another valve. The pilot stage of RV203-3D was removed. The pilot from another valve assembly, which was verified to be leak tight, was used. You know, an idiot would see that you could be leak tight. These tests that they do of leak tightness and stuff like that, there's no transparency, and with all the problems in the industry with three-stage relief valves, the leakage test has zero meaning on whether the pilot valve will be durable and reliable during the next operating cycle. Leak rate test is next to useless. No additional corrective actions were recommended based on the results of testing, inspection, and the evaluation of the leaking pilot valve from Weil Laboratories, Target Rock, and Entergy Engineering. And remember we talked about and Southern Company. The Southern Company was in there. I gotta go see what the and previous occurrences right there. You know, there was no previous occurrence, first stage leakage occurrence with these safety relief valves since all four safety relief valves were installed in April, May during. However, the industry has, has leakage with other Target Rock model relief valves. You know, two-stage relief valves. What they left to go to the three-stage. Well, they did give you hints. You know, they say one thing, right? No. However, the industry has experienced leakage with other. However, the industry has experienced leakage with other Target Rock model safety relief valves at other plants. I don't know how that, but they hint. Planned shutdown due to safety relief valve leak, peach bottom 3. Three-stage safety relief valve pilot leakage just below the normally operating pressure plant hatch. Fitzpatrick safety relief valve temperature phenomena, right? Target Rock 3-stage steam SRV board to seat misalignment. You know. Plant shutdown due to increasing tailpipe temperature. Dwayne Arnold. I mean, the ability to do a quick search, I ain't getting that. Okay, so that's the update, right? And then we're going to go to the this is the new one, right? Dated March 21st, 2013. So, event date was is January 20th, 2011, right? January 20th, yeah, 2011. Now, wait a minute. Well, See, look, I just gotta check something. I just gotta check something. Oh, brother. Gotta check my main timeline. So, March 21st of this year. Come on, come on. I just wanted to see when was March 21st. So you see how screwed up these guys are? Okay, so Nemo, what was Nemo? Nemo. Sorry. February 8th. Well, yeah, that's okay. Yep, February 8th. And then February 26th. Yeah, alright, so I just gotta, that's alright. On January 20th, this is the new one. This is the January 20th one. The January 20th one. It's not too. This is about a year after. This is about a year after the first one. You know, just gotta one. Well, so SRV 3B was, and I bet you, and I think the way the story goes, the SRV3B, they shut down, replaced that valve with a pilot valve, and then that baby leaked again, leaked right again. And believe me, this LER reports that as found set point of one SRV valve tested was less than minimum. So that test, let's get down there with that test. SRV3B, that was minus 3.8%. So they have a requirement to test. They have a requirement that you can't do the test when the plant's up at power, and even every shutdown they only do it during the outages if they do them all. Plus or minus 3%, the valve goes off, opens at plus or minus 3%. So this guy was, this guy was had a deviation of 3.8%. When that guy crossed 3%, they were required to be shut down. As soon as that guy got across 3%, it was required to be, the plant was required to be shut down. And so what you know is on these leakages, right? On these leakages, you can depend on, besides leaking, it affects their ability to open as it's supposed to at the right settings and stuff. The settings is off, and and like I said, you can't, these guys are behind 3 feet of concrete, and you can't see what they're doing and stuff like that. So you never know, you never know when a valve like that will become so inaccurate as far as opening up at the right set point. I mean, so you could have a situation where the valve is inop or declared broken, but you can't see it because you can't do the test when you're at power and stuff. And so that's the problem with this whole thing, right? So what are your assumptions? You know, like what are your assumptions with what happens when a valve leaks, type of thing? Your assumptions, your safe assumptions. I mean, you can make assumptions, unsafe assumptions, right? But you're supposed to act with perfect evidence, and right, and acting with perfect evidence is unsafe. You have to kind of assume, go one step further than the evidence and anticipate what these valves would do based on the history of a valve. If a valve only leaks once in the whole of the industry, then you say, well, it's a one-off. If you got a pattern of it leaking repetitively and leaking little leaks and big leaks and shutting the plant down twice, then you just got to say then you got to say you got to go to the next step and say, I'm going to make assumptions that are on anticipate further problems. You know, I'm not going to say I got to wait until absolute triplicate evidence is available with the valve 3 feet behind concrete. I have to, you know, make minimalist, really highly intelligent associations and assumptions and anticipation. That's what we get paid for. Evidence is only for the idiots. The intelligent people anticipate problems. They don't wait for the evidence to show up. You might make a few bad, well, I would say bad, but inaccurate assumptions, but with little damage and stuff. And if, on the other hand, if you don't make if you assume that it's safer than it is, then you can make an enormous mistake when a component is direly needed in an accident. So, the condition, and so this is when they first, you know, extend a condition, right? All right. Then they go into the cause, right? Description, I went there. The cause. They want to remind us that they're brand new, right? They have a pattern. They don't want to remind you, but I'm going to remind you. You know, they don't tell you all the different problems right off front and say, you know, we've had repetitive leaks with this, some minor, some that causes shutdowns, and these are all the events in the industry. And these are what the events consisted of, and all that. So, you know, give you all the evidence of all the recent SRV 3-stage leak valves and stuff like. Because they don't want to put that. They don't want to give me a guy. They don't want to give a guy like me that kind of evidence to call them all crazy for operating with such unreliable relief valves. You know, and here they are. This is the 4th leak. They had 2 minor leaks that they never disclosed until this time, and then 2 shutdowns. And Entergy and Target Rock personnel are currently evaluating the SRV failure events and set points to determine the root cause and contributing causes. Right. So how long can you let that? How long do you let that go? You know from the get-go, you put a valve in, it starts leaking small leaks. And I mean, how long can you draw this out, you know, and not come up? That's what I say. A lot of these, you know, Target Rock, of course, gets paid by Entergy, and Wild Labs gets paid by Entergy, and Southern Company is another utility and stuff like that. And so they're all, these guys, these engineers are all gunslingers for hire. That's what they are. They go to college to learn how to talk in nice words and write nice sentences and stuff like that to be a Pilgrim and Entergy gunslinger. A gunslinger only uses his gun for his own interest, right? Essentially that he uses his gun. He uses killing and intimidation for somebody's going to pay him to intimidate somebody or kill somebody. That's what he uses. He has no ethics or morality with using his gun like our police force and our military. or a constitution, these guys just use it for self-interest to make a few pennies. And that's what these engineers essentially are writing these LERs to make a penny, to feed their families, to primarily about self-interest and not what's in the interest of the industry and in the interest of the United States. So how long are they going to? How long do you expect a professional organization, highly educated and experienced guys with relief valves? How long does it take to figure out what's wrong with it? And as far as letting this go on as long as it has, with all these leaking valves, and other than Pilgrim Plant, I mean, this is the disgrace, and that's what I'm saying. All these Target Rock and Wild Labs and all these engineers, they're crooks. They're crooked gunslingers, and they'll say anything in LER and they'll lie through their teeth, and they know that there's zero chance of getting caught. At this time, 3 separate pilot valves which had indications of leakage while installed have been tested and disassembled at Weil laboratories. Two of them that just discussed. They just started discussing in this call. Thus far, the definitive root cause has not been established. You know what? I'll bet you if in December or in February, if the NRC said shut down and stay shut down until you know that the next valve, do you know what's wrong with those valves, and you repair them, and then they'll scramble. You know, they'd find it within a couple of weeks. You did hire the best PhDs and metallurgists and whatever it takes, you know, to find out what's causing this, and they fix it if they paid a punishment and stuff like that. But instead, they get paid to lie. Everybody makes a lot of money on lying. So we talked about, you know, on May 18th, 2011, November 12th, 2011, SRV 203, second stage. See, now they're talking, the last LER, the first LER talks about, and its update, it talks about it's only the pilot valve, now it's the second stage and stuff like that. So, you know, this thing is, you know, from the get-go, there was no the world of a ethical engineer of collecting all the facts and putting them on a piece of paper and letting everybody see it, including your enemies and stuff like that. No, there's no ethics in engineering. There's no as far as the nuclear engineering side of it and engineering in general, there's no ethics. There's no sense of who you're working for. And if you're not working for the greater good, then you ought not be a doctor, or you ought not be a nuclear engineer, because if you're working for yourself and all you're thinking about is profits when you're inside a guy's gut taking out his appendix, then you know that it's going to be a bad thing. And like we seen just recently in Boston with the bombing event and stuff, and a lot of people had knowledge that, you know, once bombs go off, then there's people out there that want to, when you go running towards the dismembered and bleeding, you know, you set off a third bomb to get all the guys that are running towards it and stuff. Even with that kind of knowledge, the heroes of Boston, you know, by the hundreds ran towards the bomb blast and heroically, you know, they didn't say, I ain't running over in that bomb blast, or with these with terroristic things going on and stuff like that. You know, I got to feed my family. I got to take care of my children. I gotta save for their college. I gotta pay for their medical and stuff. They didn't, you know, look at all that sort of stuff and, you know, weigh the cons and positives and run away from the scene, because they would their family would pay a price, right? They had a bigger idea. They had an idea that was bigger than self-interest or getting killed or maimed in another bomb blast, or having their families pay a price because you seen a bleeding guy with no legs on the ground, and you seen the humanity of it and the suffering of it, and you had no other choice but to go help another human being, that fragile human being in a injured state and stuff like that. But you don't see these guys doing this. You see these guys all writing for their own self-interest and a structure of lies, an intent to frame the conversation in the narrowest point that would bring attention to, and not repair the issue with these valves or energy in its whole. You see these guys writing LERs and inspection reports to protect themselves and protect the industry and protect the profits and stuff like that. Not run towards the blast, not run towards the bleeding and the disfigured and running towards humanity and stuff like that. I mean, and that's what you see in this. It's so disgusting that right? They didn't run towards the blast because they could get a $100,000 a year job, or $150,000 a year, or a $200,000 a year job. They didn't have no interest in running towards the injured and the bleeding and the crying and stuff. They wanted to help somebody. They wanted to help somebody without the interest in there, making money or getting a status and stuff. They just wanted that to help some poor human being that was suffering. And the purest beauty that the universe can afford us all is to do that kind of stuff, is to get above our families and stuff, and to, a lot of these corporations and stuff, business interests and stuff like that, they want to turn our families against us. They really do. They want to sit there and say, use our families as leverages to dehumanize us, to use our families. Remember, you got to feed your family, and I got the power to cut you off at your knees. I can decapitate your incomes whenever I feel like it, and nobody can stop me and stuff like that. So think about your family, think about your babies, think about your kids in the hospital, and your kids in getting expensive college degrees. You're going to be a nobody if you don't listen to me. And so you're going to be a nobody if you don't take care of your family. So you have to be my slave. That's what this is turning out to be. And you really, it's really, they're turning our families against us. They're turning our babies against us. They're turning our children against us, and our wives, and our lives and their lives into a tool to turn us into slaves and make us do what they want us to do, and make us to lie and create false documents, and to frame issues in a way that perpetuates problems into the infinity, and creates these kind of attitudes. They're accident leveragers. They increase the intensity of the accident. They increase the velocity of these systems spinning out of control with this kind of behavior, with organizing these things to use your family as tools to create a lot of energy in the dysfunction of the organizations. And we wonder why they all of a sudden bang and it spins out of control so severely and stuff like that. It's because they use their families against us. You ought to think about that. So they start talking about on February 2nd, right, February 3rd, the B valve is first stage pilot valve leakage was identified at full power, and it was reduced to 80%. And right there, and the pilot valve was reseated. I mean, that's just like, it's just like putting air in a tire. 34 pounds. You see 34 pounds on the gauge, and oh, the tire's fixed. That's like making that kind of a judgment. That's what they did. During the forced outage on April 8th, That's the Nemo blizzard caused by a loss of off-site power due to a major winter storm. The 3B first stage pilot valve was replaced with a new pilot valve, and the plant was returned to operation. So, see how sick these guys are? How sick they are? They had repetitive leaks here, and they have repetitive issues throughout the industry with target rock 3-stage relief valves, and all they did was took the easy route out and replaced the 3B valve, the 3B first stage pilot valve. They had no idea what was wrong. They restarted, right? They didn't say we found the cause of the failure and we re-engineered re-engineered the valve, and we'll never have another issue with 3-stage target rock relief valves, right? They never stated that they solved the problem. All they did is they took out the bad part and replaced it with a part that was expected to fail again. And we have no idea what and subsequent to starting up after the blizzard with the 2 other leaks, we have no idea what those valves, what the number of those valves are. The one that caused them to be restricted to 94% power, and then caused them to be at 84% power, right? And stuff. And so, it's just horrible. It's horrible. And like I said, remember what, you can expect every valve that leaked to assumption, because these valves are so unreliable. Any valve that leaked, you can assume that their set points are going to, if you had the magic ability to test that valve at power, those valves would be greater than plus or minus 3%, and the plant would be required to be shut down and stuff. You can make that assumption that once a valve leaks, that we have proof here in these LERs that once a valve leaks, and then the valve opening set point is grossly inaccurate, and their deviation is required to call that valve in-op and to be shut down within 24 hours. The following corrective actions were complete. This is Entergy as a whole. The following, they window it down to just one issue, right? They don't say we got a generic issues with leaking valves at Entergy, and there's a generic issue with leaking valves, 3-stage target rock relief valves. We got to fix the reason for the poorly designed valves, and we would only have the honor to start up a plant with the assurance that there would be no more of this kind of unreliable leaking valves in the future, right? So they know that they have genetic issues with SRV valves. They have proof at the plant and proof within the industry in their little secret databases and stuff like that. And they only say they're going to address the 3B valve. They're only going to replace, which they've done over and over again. They're only going to replace the pilot valve and start the plan up without knowing what's causing the problems with the safety relief valves. Additional corrective actions will be implemented based on the results of testing, inspection, and evaluation of leaking first stage pilot valve, from RV, 3B, and other SRV values by joint team of Target Rock and engineering. So where's a list of all these leakages, right? They've already had secret leakages in the past that wasn't disclosed. So you just got to wonder how severe this is at Pilgrim and stuff like that. The leaking SRV pilot valve and plant shutdown to repair the SRVs in accordance with technical specifications to blah blah pose no threat to public health and safety. We know in the past we've talked about Peach Bottom in 2003, right? when they had a host of, they had a scram, they had a lightning strike the plant LaSalle today. They had a lightning bolt strike the plant and trip 2 plants, and then they had a host of leaking SRV valve, misoperating SRV valves. They had one valve opened and wouldn't close. Another valve was called upon to be open and it wouldn't open. And one dual plant trip, lightning bolt trip and stuff like that. So, you know, and like I said, you know, in themselves, SRV valves would have a hard time melting the fuel, but it would create a lot of, it could melt the fuel by confusing, having a set of component failures in the system as a whole, and they all confusing the hell out of the operators, and then they do something like cause a TMI, which was an easily solved problem and stuff like that. So that's the problem. It's the essence of at Arkansas Nuclear 1, where the turbine building is a secondary system, and it's all it's all non-safety related, and non-safety until they drop a 600-ton stator, right, and it starts knocking out girders and flooding nuclear plants, and and shorting safety buses and stuff like that. And so there you get, you know, do you really have a is this a tool of the NEI and the industry as a whole to, you know, to focus the NRC only on the nuclear side of it, and not sit there and say, you know, there could be a lot of events where you know, a poorly performing secondary system is an indicator that, you know, the same kind of the exact same people work on the secondary system as the primary system. So, you know, the behaviors would leach over into the primary system. And so if they have a poorly behaving primary system, and these guys can't take a stator out without dropping it and stuff like that, you know, that leaches into the risk into nuclear safety. And just like these, you know, and this is another interesting thing. The risk of operating with a leaking SRV is characterized by an increased chance of having an inadvertently opened peach bottom, with increased chance that the valve failing to reclose. Increased chance of having an inadvertently opened SRV with increased chance of that valve failing to reclose. It could also pop open and give you a pop open without call, and what did they call that? Stuck open relief valve. Just pop open out of nowhere, and you can't shut it, and then you have to, you know. Assuming the plant operated for 24 hours with this condition. All right. Assuming, see, narrowing the risk down, only expressing it in a artificially narrow segment. So what's the risk? What's the risk of all these events colluding together with the different leaks in the SRV business? What's the total risk? You know, this is they're talking about isolated risk on one event for 24 hours. How about what's the risk, the public risk, over knowingly installing poor quality SRV valves in there, the idea that you have repetitive leaks and plant shutdowns and stuff, and the idea that there is a you know, you can translate this into public risk, the organization not being able to deal with problems and hiding problems and stuff. So what is the overall risk of having a failure? So Entergy assumes that it's only 24 hours, and it's less than 0.1 to the 0 e to the 7th, and stuff like that. Plus having inaccurate SRVs and stuff like that. How does that? I can't think of the name of it, but The overall risk. What is the overall risk? That'd be a lot higher than 1.e to the 7th and stuff like that. And so this whole thing of risk analysis and these risk calculations and stuff like that, they're just like all the other problems. And the writing of the LERs itself, it's not to create a picture of an accurate picture of the organization. It is to funnel the discussion of the information down to a bare minimum, and you're only making a generality on limited information. And the generality is always in an extremely safe manner and stuff. And the other, if you would do it the other way, you would push the plant into being better and being more safe and being more trustworthy to the public at large. So you get what I'm saying? During cycle 19, Pilgrim observed minor leakage from the second stage pilot valve RV2033C. Also, the first stage valve leakage was observed on the D, which was confirmed by a plant shutdown. Confirmed by a plant shutdown? You know, you only can prove leakage by a shutdown. During the outage for RV3D, the entire RV2033C was replaced with a new valve assembly. So why didn't they do it with all of them? Why didn't they order all new ones? All new ones, right? Instead of just the cartridge, the pilot valve cartridge, why didn't they all throw in new assemblies? The entire relief valve was replaced. Why was that replaced, right? They don't tell you why that was replaced. Why do they need to replace all the C and stuff like that? And again, you know, if I was to have an equal shot in the to get into the 2.206 business, you know, the only thing that buys you is an inspection report. You know, essentially, it doesn't really punish them. It only makes the NRC do an inspection report, and you know they're only going to look at, you know, there's just no organization out there that overlooks the NRC and has the skills to say, oh, yeah, the Entergy is incompetent and they're playing games and stuff. Like, you know, they're gods they're gods unto themselves, unafraid of creating false documents and misplaced frameworks. They, like I said, the whole idea is to take complicated problems and narrow it down to its filament of always that it's safe and you have nothing to worry about, instead of the idea that you're going to fix the problems early. You know, you're just going to go through a whole cycle of having bad valves. So then, you know, we start getting into more talking about the OE206309 business. Plant shutdown due to a 3-stage safety relief valve. Peach bottom 3. Safety relief valve, temperature phenomena at Fitzpatrick. Target rock 3-stage. Remember they said there was only 2-stage relief valves in the first LER and update to the first LER, right? Plant shutdown to increase tailpipe temperatures. Dwayne Arnold. And most of this stuff, you know, most of this stuff is a guy like me doesn't get to see the whole picture, and I could lay out all the information and make a presentation to the NRC with the complete picture, right? All this, the system just allows me to see a narrow fragment and stuff. And so, you know, if you was to say I was working for the public, you're screwing the public because you don't give me a fair shot to have access to all the information, or there's no system to make that so. So that's enough for now, and you know, all I can say is I got a little bit better control of myself. But what was disclosed in this LER is a representation of how corrupt the system is. It really, you can't look at this as, you know, it was just this LER and the NRC that tolerated this kind of LERs and stuff like that. This is a symptom of the system. You know, A system, this is outcome of the way the system works. You know, all the rules and the relationships and the associations and the culture. This is the natural outcome of the system, is to create this condition of inaccuracy and falsification with LERs, and to play such a dangerous game of picking and choosing what you think is risky and what you think is safe and stuff. And, you know, picking and choosing, like I've always said, you know, they get to play this certainty-uncertainty game, uncertainty gaming. They can flip around engineering evaluations and information and only give you the select information to give you the, you know, whatever. They structure either certainty or uncertainty for their advantage. And it is fraud of the highest degree. It's like a doctor falsifying his diagnosis in order to make a penny, you know, to make more money, or to have one issue with you and then go in there with a knife and muck around in other areas just to make extra money. That's what's going on here and stuff, and then lying about it. Extended condition. This condition potentially applies to all four. See, right now, this is the first time that they've decided that to admit that this applies to all four-stage SRV valves that were installed in RFO 18. This condition, imagine that. This condition potentially applies to all four-stage SRV valves that were installed. You know, they don't, new valves. These are new valves, brand new valves. Probably cost the good people, the stockholders and the ratepayers, going to cost them a penny. I think during cycle 19, Pilgrim observed leakage from 3B, 3C, 3D, which is being evaluated as part of the ongoing root cause evaluation. It's disgraceful that they don't. You know what? Since that first leak, it's disgraceful they weren't shut down and told to stay shut down until you discover what the problem is, or you get another design of valve, or you fire target rock and get somebody else to make safety relief valves that will do the duty that it's supposed to do. So on May 18th, you know, they're going over it a little bit. May 18, 2011 and November 25, 2011, SRV 3C second stage pilot valve minor leakage was observed. SRV 3C was replaced during the December 27th shutdown. On December 26th, on the same day, SRV 3D first stage pilot valve experienced leakage that exceeded the operability criteria at the full power. So 3C, they replaced 3C on December 26th, and then they replaced 3D on the 26th. When was the 26th? That was the first one. See, and they didn't admit. They only admitted it was one valve. Now they're admitting it's two. It's actually two valves that were leaking. On the 26th, right? They admit that they replaced two valves, two pilot valves, while the first LER only declared positively it was only one valve that they replaced. The lying thieves, they're crooks of the highest order. They're engineering crooks. They're high-tech engineering crooks. What's going on here, but guys? You thought Wall Street was bad. These guys are 10 times as worse. On January 20th, 2013, Pilgrim experienced the event described in this license event report. First stage pilot valve leak on 3B. The pilot valve was replaced and with a refurbished pilot. They fixed the one that was already broken, right? And returned to full power. On February 3rd, On February 3rd, then they go into, they reduced power 80%, and the pilot receded. The pilot was receded. Operability determination, blah 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 blah. So on February 3rd, they went to 80%. Right before the Nemo blizzard, right? An operation, then they go on and they say, well, we shut down we scrammed and had two loops, right? And one of the loops, ice, that we should have taken care of because of another LER in 2008 tripped the plant. So we didn't fix. We said we were going to fix the ice issue with the transformers and the switchyard, and we really not got around with it. We didn't get around to. We just told you we're going to fix it, and we didn't fix it because we knew it would never happen again. So it happened again and tripped them in the loop. So all of that, and then replaced the 3B pilot valve, right? Oh my God! They sent it the wild lab again that couldn't catch all the other leaks. The reason for the other leaks. It's just terrible. It's just terrible. And like again, where's the NRC saying, we got to make a example out of you of everybody in the industry. Everybody in the industry has gone hog wild with accepting leaks of target rock 3-stage relief valves, and somebody's got to pay the price. And the industry as a whole has got to get themselves together and pressure. Should have done that years ago. The pressure target rock to fix all their inappropriate safety valves. Fix them. Come up with create the pressure that forces an immediate fix, so that Pilgrim would never have gotten into this condition. So that's what the NRC should have done early on. They should have said, it's not a matter of what's the risk to Palisades. The greater risk is if we let a company like Target Rock repetitively manufacture poor quality valves, and it places the whole industry in a fix. It creates a host of risk-filled situations at other plants to either shut down or divert attention from the operators or the maintenance people, and eat up resources and stuff like that. So in order to protect the whole industry, we got to pick on Pilgrim and treat them with a shut down until fixed type of deal, so that it would cause the whole industry to finally fix what's wrong with the XRV valves. And further, we would never tolerate allowing a degraded component, poorly manufactured component, to simmer over the industry for years at a time. So we would set an example, and with the SRVs, and would set an example with any other components. You start playing around and tolerating unreliable parts and a host of operational issues and stuff like that. We cannot tolerate those kind of events of challenging people, material, and systems that ask for trouble, that begs for an accident. That's the generator of accidents. The NRC's got to act in a manner that creates order and stability in the whole industry. We can't just keep creating complexity and all this craziness that's going on in the industry. Corrective actions. Oh my God. In the 3B valve, I get all confused. They replaced the 3B. They replaced the first stage. How come the whole valve wasn't replaced? The additional corrective actions will be implemented based on the results of testing, inspection, and evaluation of leaking first stage from 3B and other SRV team of Target Rock and Entergy. See, they don't even say first stage and second stage, because they had a second stage leak, right? So they only say, oh, we're going to just fix the first stage leaks. And additional corrective actions to be documented in supplemental reports referenced earlier, whatever that means. the industry, right? No indications of NRC of SRV leakage from three-stage SRV valves. To now, the industry has experienced numerous issues with SRV leakage. Has occurred at other plants with other target rock, three-stage relief valves. So then you go into the OEs and stuff, and that ought to be enough for now. Thank you.